Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is Pawan from LetsLearnWise, and today we are going to learn at another important Numpy package called random. So in this video we'll understand what are these random numbers, its use cases and how to implement them in Python. So without any further delay, let's hop into the video. Random numbers doesn't mean that there will be a different number generated every time. Random numbers mean something that cannot be predicted logically. Okay, so this has various use cases. So it can be used to generate random numbers in science, statistics, cryptography, gaming, gambling, and many more. So without any delay, so let's begin programming using Python. So for that, let's first import the random from the Python package. So let me import from Numpy. Let's import random. So now in order to generate this random number, so we have few functions that which we can call from this random package. So let me call one function called rand. So if I just execute this particular cell, you can see there is one random number got generated, which is a float value. As many times I'm executing this cell, you can see a very random number that is getting generated. Now this is only one value, right? So if you just want multiple values, so let's say I just want to generate 10 random numbers. Okay, so here you can just pass the number of values that you wanted to generate, and here it is. So here every time I execute again, you can see some random values are getting generated of 10 size. Okay, this can be moved to a matrix dimension. If I just send two numbers within that function, which is the row size and the column size. So let's say I just want a 5 by 5 matrix. If I just execute this, so you can see a 5 by 5 matrix with random numbers, and you can go to higher level as well. So if I just generate rand, I just wanted to generate two matrices of 5 by 5. So if you see, now we have got two matrices. This is first matrix and this is second matrix arranged in one data set, which is three-dimensional data. Okay, and if you have noticed here, whenever I'm executing these cells, you can see there is a randomness that is getting generated, right? So you might have wondered how these random values are getting generated. Okay, so in order to generate this particular randomness, the random function will take one seed value on top of which these random numbers are getting generated. Okay, that seed value by default will take the current system time. Okay, now you can manipulate that seed time. So let me show you one example. So I'll execute the same line over here. So you can see there are some random numbers. Now on top of that, I'll set one seed value. So by default, it will take the current system time. Now I'll be implementing one seed value by passing one value. So let's say I'll be keeping 10 as my seed value. Now if I execute this, so if you see it is 0.77 of the first value. If I re-execute this cell, you can see the values are still intact. Okay, so that means whatever the random values that are getting generated, those are getting generated on top of this particular 10 value called seed value. If you are not assigning anything, that means the function will take by default your system current time. Okay, so this seed value will help you to maintain the random numbers. Let's say you're working on a project where multiple people are involved in that. So let's say you're generating random numbers from your end and other teammates are generating random numbers from their end. All the people will get different results because the random numbers that got generated are very different from each other. So in order to maintain that consistency, you can keep one seed value, so on top of which the random numbers will be constant for all the teammates that you're working on. So now if you see, we have just generated only float values. Now what if you wanted to generate the integer values? So you can simply type random dot rand int. Okay, so I can pass one value. So if I just pass 10 value, so if you notice it got generated only one. So that means between the range of 0 to 10, it will generate me one random number. So here we are giving the range. Okay, so whenever I execute this, so you can see the value is staying between 0 to 10. Okay, so the lower boundary is 0, upper boundary is 10. Now we can set that lower boundary as well. Now in order to set that, if I just keep, let's say 5 to 10, I just want to generate a random number between 5 to 10. So if I execute this, so if you see how many times I execute, it still remains between the range 5 to 10. It can go up to minus also. You can keep the range of minus 10. So if you see, there will be negative numbers also be generated, but it will stay between the range of minus 10 to 10. Okay, that's only single digit. Now, if you wanted to generate multiple digits, so you can mention one extra parameter called size, and let's say you just want 10 samples between minus 10 to 10. So if I execute this, so if you see, there are few positive numbers and few negative numbers. Every time it will generate random numbers, 10 random numbers. Again, you here also you can pass random.seed of, let's say, 100. The randomness will be same because we are giving the random seed as 10. So whatever the random values that are getting generated will be generated on top of that seed value, so that the array will be constant. Now, if you notice here, we are generating values and positive values of the integer. And in the above scenario, if you see, there are some random numbers but are positive float numbers. Okay. Now, what if you want the negative float numbers as well? Okay. For that, you have another function called rand_n. Okay. So rand_n will generate both positive and negative values. And also notice that if we are using the rand function, it will generate the numbers only ranging from 0 to 1. So here when we are using rand_n, it will generate any number between, it can be positive value or it can be negative value as well. Now same, you can increase the dimensions also. Now if you see, if I just mention 10 by 2, it is 10 rows by 2 columns. Okay, same as we are doing with the above rand, you can implement the same on the random_n, which can generate both negative and positive numbers, not just limited to 0 to 1, but a wider range. So I hope you're clear with the basic functions of how to use and how to generate these random numbers of positive values, negative values, integers, floats, and also the very important function called seed. So that's it for the video. If you like the content, please do like and subscribe. Thank you.